Hey y'all, today we have a guest. Miss Keisa is back, and today she is talking about dating after divorce. You don't want to miss this. Go ahead and cue my theme music. Hey Rebel, welcome to Untoxify Your Relationship. Here we will talk about all things healthy and how to get that toxic mess out of you and your partnership. I'm your host, Melissa Webb, a practicing licensed mental health therapist with 10 years experience. All right, let's go ahead and hop into it. Hey y'all, like I said in my intro, we got Miss Keisa Campbell in the building, coming all the way from the ATL, and she's going to be discussing dating after divorce because she's divorced and she is trying to figure out these dating streets because baby, let me tell you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the interview. Well, I'm glad that you took at least, 40 minutes out of your day to hang out with
Yeah.
me.
Yes, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me once again.
Yay.
Yay.
So, everybody, this is Miss Keisa. She's great. She's been on the show before talking about divorce.
I
And
think I did, yeah.
yeah, you talked about divorce.
Yeah.
So, tell the people who you are again, and we'll go from there.
Okay, girl.
Just brief overview.
Okay, when it be like introduce yourself, be like, what? This what? You want me to introduce myself? Okay, hi everybody. I am Keisa Campbell. I like to say, that title thing changes up. Sometimes I'm like, I'm a life strategist or I'm a life coach. I'm gonna just tell you, I'm a certified life coach. That's what the papers say. And I am known as a beauty coach because of my background in hair and fashion and image consulting and all of that. But all in all, what I love to do is empower women to live a beautiful life, right? And that looks different for everybody. But I'm here to help you to walk in purpose, create a style that's unique to your purpose, and to just live and thrive. Um, and so you can call me a life coach, you can call me a beauty coach. But at the end of the day, my mission is to help women to live a beautiful life. My platform is beautiful living. So I'm just gonna keep it like it's just as simple as that.
No, that was great. So I know today I wanted to talk to you about dating after divorce and also self-love after
Yeah.
divorce. So let's start with self-love.
Yay.
Tell me about your self-love process after your divorce. Like how was that healing process for self-love?
Well, oh girl. Okay. So self-love is let me even go before divorce. Like self-love need to be something that is developed before you even get into a relationship with or married. And if you never did it, it's never too late to decide to choose you, even in marriage, right? Because oftentimes women lose themselves when they say I do. It's all
Mm,
about it's all about my husband this and my husband that or the kids or this. It's all about everybody else but themselves.
yeah.
And I don't subscribe to that notion. I really don't. I believe that God put two people together to do life together. Um,
Hmm.
but you're not to forget about yourself because at the end of the day, He gave you a greater calling on your life. Yes, there's purpose in being in that marriage for that time or for a lifetime or whatever the season is, but also it's a greater purpose on your life to do what God has called you to do to fulfill in the earth. And I think a lot of times we forget about that as women. I would happen to believe that I that wasn't really my story because I understood, but I see that I saw that a lot, right? Um, and so we have to learn how to love ourselves, and loving ourselves really just means self care. How are
Hmm.
we taking care of ourselves? Are we showing up for with the purpose that God gave us? Because we all have dreams, but oftentimes it falls by the wayside for everybody else, right? Whether you're a caregiver, whatever you are, it falls by the wayside. I just recently published a book called The Journey to Beautiful Living: 7 Pillars for a Fulfilled Life. And I talk about different accounts of my experiences and how I overcame that. And even a part about taking care of ourselves, not forgetting about who we are as women. I know we wear many hats, but we have to know that it's not selfish to put ourselves first. It's not selfish. And you shouldn't feel guilty for taking time for yourself. And whether time means just an hour out your day. You can't give yourself an hour,
Mhm.
you know? Whether it's and that you have to decide what that care looks like, right? I don't believe that and it just depends on the person and their lifestyle because I was about to say, people like, I'll go get my hair done, that's self-care. Well, mm, I haven't decided how I really feel about that. Only because I do my own hair, right? 90%, 95% of the time, I'm doing my own hair. But the other 5 or 10% of the time, I do go get my hair done. And when I'm there, I had to tell my best friend, shout out to my best friend who does hair and stuff like that. And and I would have to tell her, girl, when I come to you, because she used to turn me away, like, you can do your own hair. And I was like, when I'm coming to you, that's really my self-care
Yeah.
because it's something that I'm allowing somebody else to do for me
Mhm.
that I can do for myself. I just need to lean back. You ain't even got to talk to me over the bowl. Just let me just be, right?
Yeah.
And so, but that never happens. We usually talking at the bowl. But for other people, so but self-care is deeper to me than just the surface. I got my nails done, I got my hair done. It's deeper than that. It's really taking the time to pull away
Mhm.
and finding you. Self-reflection is self-care, right? I had to do some self-reflecting this morning last night. I had to girl.
Okay, you felt that thing.
Yeah, because we'll get into that. Look, yeah.
Okay.
So, in a nutshell, it's just taking time to self-reflect, learning who you are, what your needs are, setting boundaries,
Mhm.
articulating your boundaries,
Mhm.
uh, really and not being so hard on ourselves. We are really hard on ourselves when we allow a person to cross a boundary or we let our guard down, but learning to give ourselves grace and love and to love ourselves and learning to forgive ourselves, like
Mm.
forgive ourselves. Like that was a moment for me today, right? I
Yeah.
had to self-reflect. Then I had to say, Keisa, will you forgive you?
That's important.
Yes.
That's very important because if you don't forgive yourself, then you'll
Yeah.
hold on to whatever
Mhm.
that is, and you'll
Mhm.
start having guilt and shame, resentment,
Yeah.
all the things that come with that, and then you in a whole nother dark place.
Yes. Yes. All of that. And so in that moment, I had to say, yes. I had to
Yeah.
forgive myself, right? And it wasn't maybe nothing of my doing wholeheartedly, but if I played a part in something, right? Or it went against my values, or if it goes against, and that's all self love. You having to know what your values are. You having to know what your beliefs are. You have to know, and so when I'm taking people even through my program, it's like we start there because if you don't know what that is for you, how
Mhm.
you going to create your beautiful life?
Yeah.
How you going to create the vision that we are working towards if you can't start there?
So you said so much, and I'm trying to make sure I have it, have all the points in my head. Should probably have paper and a pen because if anybody's listening, I've been your therapist, you know I forget everything. So I want to start from the beginning. So you said self-care, talking about loving yourself and making time for yourself. I think that is why singleness is so important. It's
Mhm,
like a lot of times people want to get out of singleness because,
mhm,
oh, I'm lonely, blah, blah, blah. But no, this
mhm,
is a time to reflect. This is the time to
mhm,
get to know you. This is the time for
mhm,
you to, align with God and really figure out what He wants for you
mhm,
as you
mhm.
move forward, so that's why singleness is so important before you hop into a relationship because once
Right,
you're in a relationship,
right, right,
things slow down, right?
right,
And
right.
then it's you and this person. And then don't
Yeah,
even get me started on marriage. Like it's really
right,
you and that person. And
right.
then
Mhm.
what God has for you and what He wants you to do, that kind of goes to the wayside. And He knows
Right.
that. That's why
Yes, yes,
singleness is so
yes,
important.
yes.
And I think when you're talking about self-love and self-care and all the
Mhm.
self
Self.
esteems, all the
Yes,
self
all
stuff.
that. Mhm.
I think that is important to learn that in singleness. So that way, when you do get into a relationship and marriage, you have an understanding of what that looks like for you. And then you can also talk to your partner, like, listen, this is what
Yeah,
I need.
yes,
This is what my self-care look like. This is what self-love for me look like. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take breaks. I'm going
right.
to do
Mhm.
these things. So don't be alarmed. I'm not abandoning you. I'm taking care of me.
Yeah,
Even when you have kids, okay, kids, that's
yes.
cool. We have our time, but mommy needs her own time. Can I do
Mhm.
that with my kid?
Right.
So I think all of that is important. I really think it starts when you're by yourself.
Yeah, it is. And you made a great point when you said, singleness is important because even coming out of a okay, so I was with my ex-husband since I was a teenager.
Mm,
So I went through all my teen years, all my 20s, all my 30s, and then boom, 40 hit, I'm divorced. And
right.
you're like, "Where they do that at?"
Right.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're like, um, okay. So what I supposed to do? For real?
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm learning still how to be single, right? Because
Mm,
I've been with somebody since I was a teenager,
right.
right? And so even embracing this moment, but what I can say is when I did go through my divorce and aftermath, I knew how like, okay, we were together every weekend. We were together every weekend. It was he would be like, we don't care if we just driving the block. We getting in this car doing something, okay?
Mhm.
So naturally, when I was going through my separation divorce, the weekend was about to come up.
Mm,
And I'm like, oh snap. Now normally it'll be
mhm.
this. I had to learn how to be by myself.
Mm,
And that spilled over into even to my friendships. Because even when it was time to go to lunch, I would not go to lunch by myself. If I didn't have nobody to go with me, I wouldn't go. I was just like, I'm not going. That was a blessing. I
yeah.
learned how to be by myself. So much so that my friends would call and check on me. And when I say I'm on a nature trail or, oh, girl, I'm about to head into the movies, I'm going to call you back. They was like, well, who? I'm by myself. What? Yeah, I'll call you
Mm,
back afterwards.
yeah.
I had to start planning because all my friends are married. They still are. They
Mm,
didn't even know
mhm.
how to wholeheartedly support me because they hadn't experienced it, right?
Right, right.
And so, even so, I didn't want to feel like I was a burden on nobody. So I had to learn how to say, the weekend is coming up. What are you doing for yourself?
Mm,
Okay. You wanna go to the movies, you wanna go take yourself to dinner, you wanna go walk through Home Goods because you still decorating your space and you want
mhm.
it to look nice, like, whatever. I don't care if it was just a walk around Marshalls for 5 hours.
Yeah.
I did it by myself. You understand what I'm saying? And that
Mhm.
was a big deal.
Mm,
And over time, my friends was like, "So you done did all of this and you ain't called us? You ain't called and say, 'Can you come go with me?'" I said, "No." And I realized it was a beautiful thing that and it was okay. It was okay for me to do that.
mhm.
And even so, you know, learning and a lot of self-reflecting. People don't like to reflect. People don't
Mm,
like to look at themselves in the mirror when they feeling a way. They wanna point fingers at everybody. They wanna blame everybody else. But sis, you
mhm.
what part did you play in that? You put yourself in some of those situations.
Yeah.
And you just got to sit with yourself and be like,
Mhm.
"You know what? Yeah, what could I have done differently?"
I
Okay,
think
I
that's
own that. I have to own that. I have to own that. That's my piece
yeah.
in it.
That's important. Like the what Michael Jackson say, I'm searching for the man in the mirror.
Right, right.
Like you gotta search, you have to look at yourself. It's easy to point fingers at other people. I heard a
Mhm.
pastor say it's easy to point one person at one person, but you got three fingers pointing back at you. So
Right.
it's like
Mhm.
you do have to self-reflect. Otherwise, you go through life just playing victim.
Right, playing victim,
And who
and
wants to be a victim?
that's what I was about to say. Girl, you took the words out my mouth. Took the words out my mouth. Took the words out my mouth. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, for real, like, that's not cute, that's not sexy, it's not nothing. Like, no
Mm-mm.
one wants to like, what are we doing? So, I think these are, like, ways, like you said, in singleness, you're learning these things.
Yeah, you learning these things. You learning things about yourself. You learning how to set boundaries. You learning how like what you want and what you don't. And sometimes you don't know until you
Yeah.
put yourself in a space to say, "Yeah, I ain't like the way that made me feel. Mm-mm,
Mhm.
I don't want that." You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you don't know. And even when you have these things, it's still by trial and fire because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, some things will remain true, right? There will be some things that remain true. However, it's through experiences, life experiences that help you to really hone in on more about what it is that you really truly want out of life, what it is you really truly need, and all of that. And best to believe, let me tell you how God works. The moment you say these things to be, you're likely put in the situation where it is tested.
You ain't never lied.
Right.
My daddy used to tell me, if you want patience, pray for
Oh, no,
patience.
no, no. I learned about that. I do not pray for that no more, Melissa. I do not pray for that no more. And I tell people, I was like, don't pray for that. Do not pray for that. God knows you need it. So it's not like he won't put you in it. But baby, I'm not gonna ask for it out my mouth. No.
Listen, God be like, say less.
Say
Say
less.
less.
Say less. I got you. I got you, sis. I got your daughter. I got you, my child. I got you. And you be like, but Lord, why you? Because you asked me. Because I told God this last year, like, I didn't want to be afraid of dogs. Like, all my life, I've been afraid of dogs. And I was like, I don't want to be afraid of dogs, Lord. I don't want to, like, I was so sincere in my heart. He heard it. He's like, I got
Hmm.
you. Every house I went to had a dog. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, what in the world? Like, Lord, I said, seriously? He said, you told me you didn't want to be afraid of dogs no more.
He answered your
You
prayer.
told me that you didn't wanna be afraid of dogs anymore, so how else you gonna get over if I don't put you in those situations?
Yeah.
So, I am happy to tell you guys that I am more comfortable
Mm.
around dogs. I am, yes, I am, like, I can be in the space. I usually have to know what the master demeanor is with the dog, and once I see the rapport, then I can be, you know what I'm saying? But I'm way better. Am I like, okay, I'm about to go get a dog tomorrow. I'm just gonna walk in any house. No, but I can walk in, be like, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, get him for a second, give me a second. Okay, okay, because I'm still new to this. And then over time, being in that space, I'm like, you can let him go. You don't
Yeah.
have to hold him back. You can let him out, and things like that. So yeah, so to your point, yeah, don't be can't be, can't be asking God so he won't put you he won't put you in them situations. So even when you're going through the process of learning and having to grow and, practice self-love, and that's an everyday journey. It's
Hmm.
beautiful living is a journey. I always say beautiful living is a journey. It's not a destination because we should always be evolving into the
Hmm.
person that we are called predestined to be, right? And so even when we are going through this self-love journey and loving ourselves and learning what self-care looks like to us, learning what our boundaries need to be able to live a beautiful life. All of those things will be tried and true because the moment you set a boundary, oh baby, you're gonna be put in a
Hmm.
situation where you want to have to enforce that boundary to see where you really stand. That's why I said it's a everyday. It's a everyday. And giving yourself the grace to go through it and to learn and know that it's gonna be tried and tested. Forgive yourself if you allow somebody to overstep a boundary, or forgive yourself when you don't uphold your own values and it don't have
Yeah.
nothing to do with nobody else. You allowed something to happen, right? You got to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
That's self-love.
Yeah.
And but that spills over into dating.
It definitely does, which brings us to the next point,
Yeah.
dating after divorce. So, like my little song segue,
Yeah,
dating
girl, that
after
was cute.
divorce.
Yes.
So, dating after divorce. So, have you started dating? Like, what's your process? Are you on the apps? Are you going to Trader Joe's and just being cute? Like, what we doing?
Oh, girl. That was a whole lot. Oh Lord. So, okay. Oh, this dating thing. It has been very interesting.
Okay.
It's been very interesting. So yes, I fluctuate. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm over y'all for a moment, right? I've even gone as far as to tell the Lord, I was like, Lord, come get all your sons. Look, capture them in the rapture, take them back. I said, but we want them back, but you got to do something else different. Then drop them back on earth. Yes. And drop them back on. Like I've literally had that conversation with the Lord at least 3 times, if not 5, right? Like, come get them.
Come get them.
Some ain't right. That's why you put us here, but then we gotta deal with that.
Listen.
We gotta deal with your sons. Come get your sons. That's what I come get your sons. Not
Hmm.
all of them, because there are some really good ones, but they probably, and I tell them, I said, leave the ones that but them other, you know who I'm talking about.
The ones that ain't right. That's hilarious.
Yes.
But I
So
think, but to your point to that, right? I think when you start loving yourself
I was
more,
to you. I was about to say, but that's why loving yourself first
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
is important because so many times women
yeah,
and men,
mm-hmm,
but I'm talking to my ladies right now.
right,
And I'm just gonna say in general, because there may be some men out there. Or we get out of relationships and we jump into another because we can't be out by ourselves. and never taking the time to self-reflect, to learn, like, what did I learn from this relationship? What do I not want to see again? What do I need in this new thing? You don't know that if you don't sit with yourself. And then you go into the next relationship with the same stuff.
Carrying the same baggage.
It's you, sis. It's you, bro. It's you.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm. Because guess what? I don't have the time for someone else to build me up. Granted, I'm okay with people building each other up in relationship,
Right.
but when that's your sole job is to build
Right.
me up because I don't take the time to self-reflect and do all the things I need to do to be in a relationship, that's not fair to the other person. So
Right.
with that self-love and self-reflection, also with that, you start to see like, oh, I love myself enough to not date you.
Right. Right.
Like,
Right.
because some of the things you dealing with, I don't have time to deal with that because I love myself
Right.
too much to deal with
Right.
the foolishness, the
Right.
foolery, the coonery,
But
whatever.
right, and but that's what sitting with yourself, because you have sat
Mhm.
with yourself to know what your values are right now, what your
Yep.
beliefs are, what your boundaries are, what you're looking for, what you're not, and not to say that you won't have a hiccup,
Right.
because it's not to say that it's such as life. It's just life, right? But to know
Mhm.
how to forgive yourself and get back on the train of the and enjoy the ride some more, right? My first dating relationship, or dating source more, because I won't even say it was like a relationship. I quickly realized that I wasn't ready. I
Mm.
wasn't ready. And my friends was like, "Girl, you just need to get out. You just need to get out." I talk about this in my book. Like, you need to just get out. You need to get out. And I had got so furious with them. I was like, "Why y'all?" It was like, "Well, you just need to get out." I was like, "Why y'all keep pushing me? I'm not ready." And so I had even got to a point where I was like, "If y'all tell me about going on a date one more time, I'm blocking y'all, and I don't block nobody. You won't be blocked, right?"
Mm.
But, they apologized, and they was just like, "We just didn't know what else to do." And they
Mm.
felt like me getting back out could help me to move on, or, whatever. And in my time of when I felt like I might have been ready, I
Mhm.
I attempted. And what I would tell them is, they was like, "Well, just at least go get you a meal." And I was like, "I don't need his free meal. First of all, I ain't got time to waste nobody's son's time.
Mhm.
I don't need his free meal." And I hear women say that all the time, "Honey, I'm going out there and get this meal. I can feed myself."
Listen.
Because I knew what my value and what I was looking for. Like, I can feed myself. And
Yeah.
right now, I don't even know if I'm healed enough to even be wasting somebody's son's time. So when I thought I was ready, I got out there and quickly realized I wasn't.
Mm.
I realized I wasn't, because I felt like I was gonna be too clingy. I felt like I was gonna cling, and I felt like because I was looking to replace that love that I once had. I just was like, "No, I'm not ready. I got to do some more healing. I got to do some more getting to know Keisa." And it's still been a journey, because
Yeah.
as I stepped back out to date somebody else, then I found that I was better than where I was. But even in that relationship, I'm like allowing things that didn't feel good to me, allowing things just to say that I'm with somebody. And mm-mm, nah, sis. So yeah, I just had to curl up in the bed and cry about it. But you're gonna be all right. Just cry about it, and be over with it. And because that's not what you want neither.
Yeah.
But again, that's what I'm talking about when you go back to self-love. You're gonna be put in, if you saying, "Lord, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want," you still be put in those situations, even in the dating, and it be the very thing that you say you don't want. And then you realize you said you didn't want this anyway. So why, you even, those things. So then I came across some people who actually hurt me. Then I'm trying to see how I would put it, because then I was like, did I self-sabotage?
Oh,
And
that's
I
so
only said that because the person said, "Are you self-sabotaging this?" And I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not moving too fast." And so, because I have a lot of moving parts, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. I'm building out my business, and with those things. And I know that I so love to love. I have so much to give of myself, that I have to make sure, like, is this a season that I need to be heavily in a relationship? Because then there may be expectations that I'm having of you, because I'm building, that's not fair to the other
Mhm.
person. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So,
Mhm.
or is it a season of me saying, "Hey, I'm not going nowhere. but let's really build out this friendship. I'm here, you here, but I need to focus on this, what I'm doing, and how can I do this in relationship congruently together, and so that's the season that I am in now, where I am exploring
Mm-hmm.
um through the self work that I've done, and recognizing that even when something, and if it's not right, speak to the person about it, give the person an opportunity to correct, and then self reflect even in that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not, and what do you need to correct about yourself? Because everything goes back to self. Because when I'm talking about relationships, I always talk about the relationship you have with yourself before you have one with other people.
Yeah.
So dating after divorce has been very interesting, in a sense of me have been taking, I'll take a break in
Yeah.
between.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I want, so I don't waste time with people.
Yes.
The moment I see that it's not, I'm done. It's
Yeah.
no point of me, whatever. I keep it moving. I
Mm-hmm.
don't Life is so short that we don't know the day or the hour. I want to get to my person because I do want to be married again. And I ain't finna have some joker wasting my time.
I hope y'all are enjoying this interview because that is just part one. We got part two coming out next week with Miss Keisa. Go ahead and check the show notes. All her information is there. I know she's doing some master classes and some other things. And just go check out her website and see what she's doing. As always, episodes drop on Monday. Like, share, subscribe. Go ahead, let your auntie, uncle, and cousin know about this episode and the podcast. As always, stay classy, stay non toxic, and I will see you next time. Peace. Thank you for listening. Go ahead and share this episode with your family and friends. Don't forget to check out the quiz to figure out what your toxic trait is. The link is in the show notes. Thank you, and see you next time.